Guys, like the Madeline Soto case, we have a 13-year-old girl who went missing and who is apparently connected in mysterious and suspicious ways to a grown man. Let's get started. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome back, my friend. Thank you very much for being here for another true crime conversation with me on my channel. My name is Gavin Fish. Thanks for being here. If you're new, welcome. And if you're not, welcome back. Glad that you are here. I am kind of running on empty here because it's been a busy day. As you guys know, we did the Ellen Greenberg hearing report a little bit earlier today. I just got off the live stream with Joel, my buddy over at Surviving the Survivor, along with Tom Brennan, talking about the Ellen Greenberg case. And I planned on talking about the case of Celeste Rivas Hernandez last night before the news broke about the report on the Ellen Greenberg case. So we meant to do this last night. We're doing it tonight. Don't think that because I pushed it from one night to the other that it's any less important. This is a 13-year-old girl who went missing, who was found she was found in the frunk of a Tesla. And there are questions. I have lots of questions. And I'm sure you do too. If you have questions and you would like to be part of the conversation, please put GF in your comment. That will help me see it on the back end. No, GF does not mean girlfriend. It means Gavin Fish. I should have set that up so that it was like QQQ, right? Like every other podcaster and YouTuber in the world. But no, I was naive. I didn't know the way things were supposed to be done, and that's the way I did it. So we're just going to stick with it. Okay. Let me just make sure that my technology is all set up. This is Robin. Robin is saying, we may have to stop you from wearing gray. I need some color, my dude. That's funny. I think I'm just going to keep the lamp like that because I don't trust my eyes. When I wear something, I don't trust my eyes to match it correctly. But that is pretty funny because I know that you love that. I know that you love the desk lamp. Heather, good to see you. 64 San Jose. You put GF correctly, but I need you to put your comment or question in there as well so that I can see it. And yeah, okay, it looks like we're in good shape there. Technology is working. We are going to dive in. All right, I have prepared this. Let's bring this up. We're going to bring this back up to remind you guys. By the way, with the release of the Ellen Greenberg doc and the information that has come out recently, I've had a lot of people supporting me on Patreon. One of the benefits of Patreon is that you get access to all the files on my website. So if you are a file person, if you would like to get into the nitty gritty, if you like to get into documents, reports and stuff like that, my website's going to be a place that you are going to love. You know what? Let's see. Robin Bernardi. I will fix you. It's okay. That's funny. Kimberly does dress me. And in her defense, I have been resistant to her. But you guys know I'm turning over a new leaf. And so, yes, I will be more open to what Kimberly asks me to do. Loogie, that's a great name, loves the gray. Okay, good. And Bonnie, do I ever sleep? Indeed I do. I'm what I would call a professional grade sleeper. I'm just very, very good at it. I just sleep on different schedules than everybody else. Okay, let's talk about this case just a little bit, guys. I've prepared this presentation. It's about 20 pages. I am hoping that you have questions that we can start looking for the answers for, because unlike many of the cases that we follow here on this channel, there is bupkis coming out of the LAPD in terms of anything. We don't have access to the search warrants. There has not been an arrest, so there are no probable cause affidavits. This is, while we're in week 4 or 5 of this, precious little has ever come out. So we're just going to talk about this as it's been reported in the media, okay? Number one, Celeste Rivas was a 13-year-old girl when she went missing in April of last year. Now, reportedly, she had gone missing 3 times, according to ABC LA, in 2024, this being the 3rd time. So at the time of her disappearance, she was 13 years old. She was found on what would have been either the day before or the day after her 15th birthday. So we're talking about a young, impressionable girl, one that may have been somebody that was a little bit of a free spirit, maybe a little bit of an independent, growing into a young woman. I don't know the circumstances under which she went missing so many times. If she was a runaway or whatever, but this is who she was. Okay. And to me, when I hear these kinds of things about such a young person, I just think that they are the perfect prey for would-be predators. You know, we had Anna Sonoda on, 3 weeks in a row to talk about preventing our children, our loved ones, from being prey to predators. And to me, it feels like this 13-year-old child was just the perfect prey. This is just my opinion, right? Just the perfect prey. She was born, from the best I can tell, near Lake Elsinore, California. Lake Elsinore is in the Inland Empire. It's in Riverside County. The Inland Empire is what is they refer to the Inland Empire. Okay, I've got to say things in English. Need to reverse the order of this sentence, okay? Riverside County and San Bernardino counties are referred to as the Inland Empire. They are on the east side of the Los Angeles basin going up into the foothills. So Lake Elsinore is right where I put that little, yellow pointy penny thing, almost due east of Long Beach, so southeast of LA. So not far away from where she was found. Now, the second person that's involved in this is a man named David Anthony Burke. He goes by the stage name spelled D4vd. It's pronounced David. Mr. Burke is a Houston-born artist who is known for his viral hit Romantic Homicide. Now, you guys are going to have to forgive me, but I could not bring myself to listen to modern music, especially one called Romantic Homicide, especially in light that we have a homicide here. Well, I believe we have a homicide here. We'll get to that. But I'm sure he is a talented young artist with musical tastes different than my own. He rose to fame through social media, through TikTok, through YouTube. He eventually signed to Interscope, to a label under the Interscope management, right? To a brand of the label. So by about halfway through this year, this guy's star was rising. He was living in a $4.5 million home in the Hollywood Hills. He was touring. He had brand sponsorships. He had, I mean, this guy's star was on the rise. Now, since, and we'll get into a few details about this, since his car was discovered with the body of young Miss Rivas Hernandez, a lot of those brand partnerships have been pulled while the investigation is ongoing. It is important to note here, guys, that right now, while it is being investigated as a homicide, we don't know that we have a homicide here. There's lots of speculation online. I've been trying to keep this presentation to just what we know, not what people speculate about. Are you guys having problems with sound? Let me just, somebody says sound is good. Some say sound is bad, but okay. Look, I'm going to pull it back a little bit so I'm not clipping. There, that probably is a little bit better. Okay, so we're keeping to what we know, okay? Not what people are talking about on, I don't know, TikTok and stuff like that. I am reminded of little, why am I blanking? Give me a second. Baby Emmanuel Haro, who the police are just angry at all of those that go all over social media doing all sorts of speculation. We do not engage in speculation very often here. Okay. What are we doing? We're going to go next. Give me a second. Okay. All right. So was there a link besides the obvious of Miss Rivas Hernandez being found, her remains being found in a car, either owned or leased by Mr. Burke? Police have not confirmed any personal or professional connection between the two. Some online sleuths that I've seen on TikTok, I've seen on Facebook, have claimed to have found images showing Mr. Burke with a young woman believed to be Ms. Rivas Hernandez, but like her face is always conveniently covered, so it's impossible to know if there was a connection between the two. Now, one of the things that I don't think that I looked up is how old is Mr. Burke? He's 20, okay? So he would be 5 years the senior of Miss Rivas Hernandez. There are some rumors that suggest that Celeste appeared in some of Mr. Burke's live stream chats before her disappearance, though none of that, at least to my satisfaction, is verified. I haven't seen any reports from reputable news sources that have said that. It's just rumor at this point. Investigators have not they've not released any information that we can rely upon, at least to my standards, that the two are linked, other than what I said before, which is the fact that her remains were found in his car. But we do know from the LAPD that his phones, his hard drives, his computers were seized as part of the investigation. I'm sure that they're working to figure out if there is a connection between the two. Okay, so a little bit of a timeline, and I did this kind of weird. We're going to start with this timeline, but I'm going to kind of salt and pepper in some other parts of the timeline, okay? All right. So in Lake Elsinore, April 5th, 2025, she's already gone missing twice in 2024. In the 4 months, not even 4 months, the 3 months plus 5 days of 2024, Miss Rivas Hernandez went missing, and the last one was on April 5th out of Lake Elsinore there in the Inland Empire, southwest of Los Angeles, southwest of Hollywood, where her body was eventually found. She was missing, guys, for more than 2 years. But on August 27th of this year, a Tesla Model S I think it was a Model S. We'll look at a picture here in a second. I think it's a Model S. Registered to Mr. Burke, received a parking ticket in the Hollywood Hills. It was reported that there were multiple parking tickets, and on September 3rd, it was towed to an impound lot down in Hollywood, down on the valley floor, where it was put into a lot. Within a few days, workers are smelling something funky. We all know, well, maybe not all of us, but here, where in Pennsylvania, where our state animal is roadkill, we all know the smell of decomposing remains. To my nose, animals and humans are the same. I know that to other creatures that have been created and put on this earth, they are different, but the tow yard, the workers are saying this is getting a little bit funky, and they go to investigate. They pop the frunk, which is a kitschy little way of referring to the storage area in the underneath where the hood is on a Tesla Model S, where in a petrol powered car the engine would be. They open it up and they discover the remains. Police are called. They do an investigation. Ms. Rivas Hernandez, her remains are identified by dental records, and the cause and manner of death was deferred, saying basically the ME is saying we need more investigation to figure this out. But what they haven't done is release the autopsy report. Now, keep in mind that this is not Florida. This is not Idaho. This is not Minnesota or Kentucky or the myriad other states that do their best to be transparent. This is California, where they don't believe in such things. So whether it will be released or not, it's more likely that it won't be released. But anyway, it was the 16th of last month that that she was identified. Okay. The following day, police execute a search warrant up in the Hollywood Hills to a residence that is leased by Mr. Burke. And then I just added in there a couple things. There was a public vigil in Lake Elsinore in late September. Also, Mr. Burke canceled his tour, and her funeral was held about a week ago, yesterday, there in Rowland Heights in the Inland Empire. Yes, so, well, actually, I can't tell if that actually looks like a Model X to me, but I have a hard time seeing that and being able to tell, though I am familiar with the product line. Okay, so what we learned is that this Tesla had multiple parking tickets before it was towed from a Hollywood Hills street near a mansion. I don't know if it's a mansion or not. That people refer to it as a mansion. Let me just say it costs a lot of money. $4.5 million house. And yeah, it's a big house. It's a nice house. It's up in the Hollywood Hills. It's being rented or leased, I've heard it both ways, by Mr. Burke. Of course, again, he is on an upward trajectory. He's earning all sorts of money. Of course, he's living in a $4 million place. Now, I had to move to Pennsylvania. It doesn't matter. Okay. We know that the tow yard staff discovered the body. This is an actual image from either a drone or a helicopter, showing the investigation into the discovery of the remains. This parking lot was near Mansfield Avenue and Romaine Street in Hollywood, just like right in the middle of Hollywood's area of the valley. Okay. And because it was a suspicious death, it was taken over. The investigation was taken over by LA's Robbery Homicide Division, which is so famous, starting probably with Dragnet, and they're the homicide guys and gals in LA. All right. What we know of her body from what has been released is that it was in an advanced state of decomposition. What we don't know is exactly how long she was in the frunk of that Tesla, but police said that they believe that she had been dead for several weeks. Again, we learned that her identification was made through dental records and that the cause and manner of death is deferred. What that means is that we don't know that we have a homicide here. There are other possibilities that we can talk about other than homicide, that could be crimes here. There could be charges, but we don't know exactly how she died or whether it was accidental, self-inflicted, homicide, natural, which I doubt with a 15-year-old girl, or or a homicide. So there a couple things that we have learned are that the LAPD has described the circumstances of her death as suspicious. Again, the ME is not said. It's the LA County Coroner's Office. They have pathologists, so I probably am using medical examiner incorrectly, but the forensic pathologist at least has not determined the cause and manner, pending toxicology and histology tests. So histology, I'm going to get this really bad as far as definitionally, but it is basically the examination of tissue samples and so forth, right? So a histological exam of a burn victim might be skin tissue, which is stabilized and looked at layer by layer to see, how deep the burns go, those kinds of things. That's histological examination. Toxicology, of course, is the toxicity of the blood and other fluids within the body. In this case, I would imagine that they're probably not testing as much blood, but decompositional fluids are probably what they're testing mostly. So until that determination comes in, this is not going to be classified as a homicide. They need to do some more digging first. Now, Mr. Burke, from what I understand, is he's saying he's cooperating with the investigation. I would imagine that somebody that has that much on the line for himself, his family, and all of the other leeches that are and succubi that are attached to him as he builds his career, I would imagine that he's getting advice from legal counsel. So I don't know how much he is cooperating, to what extent. It could be that he is fully cooperative. It could be that he's lawyered up and they're telling him to shut the mouth. So I don't know. But we do know on the 17th, as I said before, that a search warrant was executed on this Hollywood Hills residence where he was leasing it. We know that, again, phones, laptops, drives, recording equipment was seized and is being analyzed for any link to Celeste or to her timeline. And again, we do know that the residence was not owned by Mr. Burke. So as far as kind of fallout, he has canceled all of his tour dates. He's paused any music promotion. Brands have pulled out from sponsoring him, partnering with him. And one of the things that I found interesting is that fans and critics alike are really taking a look at his song lyrics and trying to find anything that might be imagery that could indicate that this young man might have a predilection for homicide. Again, a lot of that is speculative, right? So it's not something that I really want to get into, but that's what's happening. I did see an article from the Daily Mail that said police are analyzing potential previous contact between Celeste and Mr. Burke. It does not have very much verified information. Again, there are some online photos that seem to show Celeste with Mr. Burke, but there's been no confirmation out of law enforcement that I have been able to find. Maybe you guys are yelling at me right now. I need to get to your comments. In fact, this is a good time to do that. Let's maybe you guys know more than I do, but there are lots of theories that are being bandied about and just I guess debated online. Could she have been a victim of trafficking? And of course, it's possible, right? When we have conversations with Elizabeth Jones, we talk a lot about what trafficking is, and it is not what we think sometimes it is. This whole idea of kidnapping all these people, putting them in a container and shipping them across the sea kind of stuff. It can be done much, much easier than that. So certainly, it is, it's possible, but there are lots of, possibilities. A couple of things that I'm like Woods Whisper. This one did not have GF in it, but this is a great comment. She was too eager to be a grown up and she paid the ultimate price for it. So sad. This reminds me, it reminds me of like Jocelyn Nungary. It's just, I mean, the purpose of the channel here is for us to learn and grow, not for us to be scared into cowering into corners and not letting our children outside and stuff like that, but we want to grow. And I remember being 13. I remember it very well. You think that you know everything, and you're right. You're stretching to be a grown up. You know, the irony there is that once you're a grown up, you're like, dude, it'd be so great to be a kid. But I agree with you, Woods Whisper. That does seem to be what is the case here. Let's see. They reported she was last seen in September because residents' exterior door got video. I had read that as well, but I didn't see any confirmation of that. Dawn Louise is asking, how unusual is it for the police to keep so quiet in any other cases recently where it has been treated the same, especially with the public interest? Okay, so for me, Dawn, this boils down to the location. What was the name of the young woman? Hannah, was it Kobayashi? I got that wrong. Let me see. Hannah. Yeah, Hannah Kobayashi. Yeah. Remember Hannah Kobayashi was in the LA area too, and that one was unique in that they were releasing some things, but it was an active missing person case. In California, homicide cases are tight-lipped. California does not have the same transparency laws that many of other states and commonwealths in the country have. Florida is, like, to me, the gold standard of transparency in government. Let's see, this comment from Complaziert. Have you noticed that the 4 in David strangely seems connected, part of Cross of Endless, the symbol used by shooters like Robert Cremo and Third Robin Westman, as if it's part of their evil cult? I had not noticed that. I had wondered why. I mean, I kind of felt like he was just doing it that way to be cool. I mean, I use a digit in my name in an email address that I have, so I hadn't thought about it. But thank you very much. I appreciate the super chat. Robin says, my daughter has done body removal, and she said that animal and human decomp smell differently. Yeah, I bet to a trained sniffer, they do. I have done body removal exactly one time in my life. I think I've told you that story. I was interviewing our county coroner when she got called to a scene for a man who had people hadn't heard from a week. It was sad. To me, it smelled very much like roadkill, but yeah, I am not trained. See if there's... Scorpion says, I don't think it's a frunk due to it being a Tesla. There are other gas vehicles with a frunk. Indeed. Indeed, I stand corrected. One of my favorite cars of all time, for example, the Porsche 911. In fact, any mid-engine or rear-engine car is that way. Volkswagen Beetle, you're right. You are right. I guess I just never heard the term frunk until Tesla. I think it's just a kitschy thing. Autumn says my voice is not matching my mouth. I don't know if there's anything that I can do about that, Autumn, other than restarting YouTube. So thanks. Dawn says Jennifer Coffindaffer, ex-FBI, tried getting her husband to get her in her Tesla frunk in a bag, and she says there's no way a body not dismembered would fit in. That was interesting to watch. Okay, I love Jen. Okay, but I have a photo of 3 children in the frunk of my Model S, which was a business car. Back in 2015, and they were, I don't know, it was 2 of our children and one of our children's friends. I think they must have been 12 or 13. Let's see, in 2015 they would have been 11, I guess. So 2 11-year-olds and a 10-year-old or a 9-year-old, I was able to fit into the frunk of a Tesla Model S. So, and I know that there are rumors out there. So I'm not being disagreeable. I'm not disagreeing with you for the sake of being disagreeable. I'm just saying, I don't know. I mean, I've got a photo of it. But there are rumors out there of dismemberment. I've read a couple of articles that have theorized that. And Jen, by the way, is an amazing investigator. So, and somebody I really like and respect. So, yeah, maybe she's right for a person her size, and she's not that big. She's tiny girl. Lucy Fair. I hung out with adult men starting when I was 13 and didn't realize how horrible it was until I was in my 30s. Told myself I was just grown up for my age, but I know now I was taken advantage of. 100%. Yeah, that is correct. And I'm glad that you are safe. Very glad that you are safe. Snarky Pants says GF always means girlfriend. That's funny. Okay, so we've caught up on your comments. Let's head on back to the old presentation, shall we? All right, so again, we don't know. There are no substantiated theories coming out of the police yet, at least to my knowledge, as of about 5 o'clock this afternoon when I finished this up. On September 22nd, there was a candlelight vigil held in Lake Elsinore. The community gathered to celebrate her life. They definitely want to put pressure on the LAPD to solve this. And I do think that there is truth to needing sometimes to put pressure on law enforcement agencies. I think for the most part, people who work in investigations of homicides and major crimes do have it in them to want to solve cases, but oftentimes they could be hampered by the political winds that are blowing in their communities. I guess, let's say the leadership wins. It's not a political thing, meaning like, I guess, partisan politics, but it is part of the body politic, right? The things that are happening in the community. So I think that they are hampered sometimes. And so doing these kinds of things, I think, do make law enforcement act. For example, the baby Emmanuel Haro. It still kills me to have to say Haro because I get the tongue lashing. Well, the typewritten lashing if I say Aro or Otto, which is the natural way for me to say it. But anyway, posters and candles at the vigil said things like justice for Celeste, she deserved better, and local officials have pledged to support the investigation. But local officials are officials. They will say anything. On the 6th, there was a funeral held at the Queen of Heaven Cemetery in Roland Heights. The family thanked supporters and asked for privacy. Loved ones continue to demand transparency from law enforcement, which I don't think that they're going to get, but I wish they would continue doing that. A GoFundMe campaign raised funds for funeral expenses and a memorial scholarship. I could not find an active GoFundMe campaign, but that doesn't mean it's not there. Just in my research, I did not find it. Now, the last few slides, I want as a community, you and me, to establish, I guess, or to think of some things that we should be on the lookout for, okay? The main thing for me is that we still don't have a cause and manner of death out of the LA coroner's office. So we don't know if this is a homicide, an overdose, which would fall under accident. We don't know if it is a natural death. Oh, I think that we can probably rule that out pretty safely. You know what I mean? So we need to wait to hear from the LA County Coroner's Office. I do think if they come back with something other than homicide, I think the community would be pretty outraged outraged by that. But again, toxicology reports or results could, I guess, show, was there alcohol, drugs, any type of like trafficking drug, like what is it? Rohypnol. I think I'm mispronouncing that correct. Other things involved, right? So we need those toxicology reports. Those findings will basically decide whether the case becomes a homicide or some other manner of death. So we need to keep our eyes open for that. There will be some legal developments over the last. Well, let's see. I'll get to that part. There could be some legal developments. There could be charges coming to Mr. Burke, or to perhaps somebody in his inner circle, or to somebody not even remotely related or connected to Mr. Burke. It's so many different things are possible. I think the probability is the main suspect is Mr. Burke. But yeah, those charges could include all the way up to homicide. It could be, well, I put on here improper disposal of a body. In the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, we call that abuse of corpse. It's kind of an outdated term, but that is the legal term for it. It could be obstruction charges. It could be, hindering investigation charges, something like that. So even if the cause of death is uncertain, depending on other evidence, there could be charges pending there. I don't know, and there's no indication so far. The only reason I put this last bullet point in is that he was a touring artist. So if there was a connection between Mr. Burke and Celeste, and she went on the road with him, or I was thinking even if he was on the road and they were communicating, and we're looking at interstate commerce clause here, there could be some federal charges as well, but there's no indication yet that that is the truth. That is just what people have been speculating about. And then this one was very interesting to me because just a couple days ago, news broke that Mr. Burke has transferred some properties in Texas into his mother's name, and that he did it last month. Now, what does that mean? Because that could all be undone if he were, for example, to be found civilly responsible. That all could be undone. But it may suggest that he's like, oh, I've got to protect some assets. It could also mean that he's just like, hey, I want to give mom a house. It's hard to say, but the timing is suspicious, right? And that timing warrants scrutiny by the public, by the media, by the police. And it could, of course, foreshadow some of that civil litigation that I was talking about. A little bit more to watch out for is industry fallout. Like a person like Mr. Burke, who I keep using this terminology, but whose star is on the rise, there will be so many people latching on to him. Managers and partners and agents and lawyers and groupies and roadies and backup singers and dancers and other musicians. There will be so many people whose livings, I guess not in the case of groupies, but so many people whose livings are tied to his success that I think there could be big fallout, I guess is what I'm saying, right? Now, it also could be that this guy is completely innocent, and because her remains were found in his car, he is suffering the consequences of being presumed guilty by the public when he might actually be innocent. And I'm just saying this for the sake of devil's advocate, right? Just looking at it both ways, putting our skeptical bowlers on. You know what I need to do? I need to buy a bowler. My skeptical bowlers, because I've always thought that my skeptical hat is a bowler. I need to buy a bowler and put it on a hat rack in the back, don't I? I definitely need to do that. Okay, but anyway, so his label, his management, they're staying publicly silent. I'm sure in the back that, you know, out of the public view, they're scrambling. There has been a growing backlash, especially, excuse me. Yes, I'm tired. This is my third video of the day. Especially on TikTok, there's been a growing backlash. There has been, in my opinion, a shift in the narrative on social media from, wow, this is a crazy celebrity scandal that we need to keep our eye on, to, wait a minute, let's remember our victim here and we need justice for this victim. So we're starting to see that evolution happen. And I don't even think starting, I think that evolution has happened, and that will cause even more pressure on the business people, on the succubi and leeches in his life, and also all of the brands and all of the companies that would be attached to him as they kind of scatter like, well, I don't want to call them cockroaches when I already called them succubus, but you guys know what I'm saying, right? Okay, so my key takeaways here, and I think this is my last slide. Yeah, my key takeaways here is that a 15-year-old girl's death inside a celebrity's car is unexplained. We don't know. Is this a homicide? Is this an accident? Is this an overdose? Is this whatever it is? We don't know. And we won't know until the cause and manner of death are determined. I think the investigation probably is ongoing in so many different realms of forensics, financial, financial and digital forensics, physical evidence, that kind of stuff. Again, we still don't have a connection between Mr. Burke and Celeste. There are all sorts of rumors out there, but we don't know for sure yet. So as the case continues to evolve, we will, I think, hopefully see more public pressure intensify as that happens. And that is what we know so far of the case of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Let's see what you guys are saying. I'll keep this one up. Okay. Let's get this refresh-fied on my back end. Don Luis says, I don't know either way. Like you, I wait for official details. Yeah, I like documents, man. Definitely. Let's see. Danny has been packing. You don't need to be sorry. Well, you don't say sorry, but you can just watch from the beginning and have fun. Couple of let's see. Yeah, oh, this is interesting. Yeah, so heard that Tesla has cameras and will take photos of anyone outside of the car that either gets too close or touches it. This is true. It depends on the year, but basically anything that has self-driving capability has a vast array of cameras and sensors that do record when somebody is close by. So I would imagine that, oh man, I'm glad you brought that up. It didn't even occur to me. Of course, the Tesla I drove was before that time. It's been a while. But yeah, I would imagine that there is some type of video footage of Celeste being put into that frunk. Great comment. Goodness sake. Don Luis says his silence is deafening. Yes, he will be advised to keep quiet, but nothing at all is strange. Not even a statement from his lawyer. Yeah, you're right. I haven't seen anything from his management, his lawyer, other than he is, what is that? What is the word that I'm looking for? He's helping with he's open to he's cooperating. Dang it. That took 3 tries. Oh, we've got a question about Ellen. Let me see. Yeah, this is our last one. So why don't we... Lucifer, Gavin, not related to the case, but speaking of timing, was it normal for Sam to work out in the building's gym like how decided the day of Ellen's death? Okay, I will tell you my opinion. Here's the deal. The Philly police who investigated this case sucked at investigating this case. They were having a bad day, bad week, bad month, bad year. I don't know. But they did not get any previous days video footage from the Lofts apartments, the Venice Lofts. So we don't know. However, looking at Sam, to me, he does not look like a gym rat. And I know that's rich coming from this face, this round face, right? But to me, he doesn't seem like a guy who spent a lot of time in the gym. Seemed a little soft. Man walked down the street, said, "Why am I soft in the middle now?" Anyway, yeah, that's what I think. If you guys have any other questions about Ellen, I'm happy to say it. That's funny. Yeah, looks like we are done for the evening, which is fine because we're almost we're 50 minutes here. I started late, so it's been a busy day. So tomorrow, guys, my plan is, one, I am going to be on with Josh Ritter over at Courtroom Confidential. His normal time is 8 p.m., right? 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific. So that is my plan for tomorrow. And so I'm going to be bumping my live stream up a little bit early. I have to talk with Sandy because I don't know if Sandy's yet going to be up for it. But the plan was to have Sandy and Josh on my program tomorrow. I will talk to them. I will call them tonight. I can't guarantee that I will talk to them, but that was my plan for tomorrow. If not, I've got something else that I will bring you to talk about. Couple things. Let's see. Lucifer asking again about Ellen. What about in her phone records? Wouldn't there be text kind of indicating he was working out? Nothing jumped out at me. I have all of her phone records, all of her text records from the last 3 years of her life. And maybe a little more. Now I think about it. Let's look. We can look. I have this here. So the first... Oh, that's the phone location dump. Give me a second. Yeah, so call history, I have way back to... Oh, no, that's from something else. That's call history. Yeah, I think it's a good... Well, I think it's a good 3 years. Nothing jumped out at me. I'll say that. Valerie Dahl, Gavin, if he's no longer cooperating with police, entirely his option, it seems that this will be a slow investigation of devices, apps, and proof of locations after warrants are approved. I agree. I agree. Okay, so we're calling it. We're calling it. We will just do the obligatory just announcements for tomorrow. I will be on live tomorrow, but it'll probably be early, and I will be on with Josh on Courtroom Confidential. I'll get that out all to my socials tomorrow morning. So yeah, busy day tomorrow is a busy day today, but we keep busy, busy, busy here. And I appreciate that you come around to witness my busyness and to talk with me, chat with me, and it's pretty great. So thank you very much. If you want to chat more, head on over to the fish tank. Let's see. One way to talk to me actually is to going over to my website, gavinfish.com. You can get access to all sorts of documents. Those of you who are Patreon supporters, you have unfettered access to all the documents in my case files. Also, if you click on this little fishy here, that will take you to where we chat online on Facebook in the fish tank. So you're always, always, always welcome there. And with that, guys, I am calling it a night. I bid you adieu, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Till tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.